What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the hoetohusbandpodcast. I'm your host, Terry Duran. I got my co-host, J Bob, on the line with me today. What's going on, bro?
Not much, man. Looking forward to getting into another great episode. Want to wish a happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful mothers out there. But want to quickly remind you can catch us on TikTok as well as subscribe to us on YouTube at Hold Us Podcast. And for those of you interested in promos and shout outs, you can shoot us a DM on audiobook as well as emails at hoetohusbandpodcast@gmail.com. All right, see?
I want to start off by giving a shout out to my man, Brother Soul Productions, for keeping us laced with our background music. I'd like to remind y'all to continue supporting the podcast through our Cash App and our PayPal. We definitely appreciate the love. And I'd like to remind you that you can catch the audio playback every Monday afternoon at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on thecore94.com. Now, today's episode is titled Mommy's in Charge in light of Mother's Day. And we're going to be having just a conversation and some thoughts about some of the ways that parenting or mothers can improve what they're doing. I know there's a lot of slack and there's a lot of negativity in regards to single moms and whatnot. But if you've seen it up close, it's a very difficult task, and I think we can hopefully give them some tips on how to improve it. But y'all know how we do around here, man. We like to start off discussing stuff that we've seen trending on our timelines. So we got a couple interesting videos to talk about this week. This first video is a man talking about effort in spending money with a young lady. Let's take a look.
So that's what I'm saying. If a woman requires a different level from y'all will.
Who are you to require any different level? Who are you? Why do you think that I should spend more money on you because you have a vagina?
I mean, what are you gonna spend it on then? Like, what are you?
I don't have to spend it on anything. Bills, things of an importance. You're one of those women who believe if I spend $500 on a date, that's more effort than me actually setting up something where we're able to actually spend time with each other and thinking about the environment that we're in and thinking about the place and how with the time and the temperature and how it's going to smell. Things like that. You're focused on, well, I want to take pictures so I can put it on Instagram to show everybody that I have a man with money. Valentine's Day, I want to see the roses on the bed with the balloons and the flowers and the chocolate with my name and a balloon so everybody can see. Let me put it behind glass because it's not the importance of what this man did for me. It's how much money he spent so I can show the world that I have this type of man.
Well, that's what y'all are. Nobody appreciates something that they got for free. Y'all are that way. Men don't appreciate nothing they got. Men don't appreciate a woman that they got for free, to be honest. They only appreciate a woman they had to work for. And sometimes they
What are you talking about?
just trying to see what men actually want. But like
I'm telling you, but you don't like the answer because it goes against what you believe. You believe that a man is valuable. You believe a man is valuable because he just got money to spend it on. You're a bottom of the barrel woman. You're bought. You're a prostitute. A man can sleep with you if he got enough money. A man can't sleep with you because he has integrity. A man can't sleep with you because he's a good man, because he's a man of God, because he can teach you things and has wisdom. He can sleep with you because he can take you on a nice expensive dinner date and do it enough times where you feel like, you know what, this nigga got money, I'm gonna give him some pussy. You're a prostitute. You're a modern day prostitute.
That escalated very quickly. But you could tell how, talking to those type of women is very frustrating for all men, I think, especially when you're trying to get them to understand the hypocrisy and the flaws in their logic. And what he's saying is very true. A lot of women do care about what they can show on social media, how they can shit on other women, and how they can basically flex what a man is doing for them or paying for to other women. And from a male perspective, if you're not a guy that's able to just be able to tell a woman how it is or be able to tell a woman no, you're going to fall into one of those, you know how they got the guys free food or fun time, like where she's just going to be able to use the interest you have in her to get what she can out of you. And a lot of guys fall for it, bro.
Yeah, and I think a lot of guys fall for that for a couple of reasons. You know, maybe she might be cute, pretty, you know what I'm saying, pretty licensed shit. So, you know, they're willing to go all out for her without actually, you know, begging her, seeing, okay, if we're compatible, if this is a fit for me. But he's right, it doesn't take much effort for a guy to spend a bunch of money or throw a bunch of money. For me, I always thought leading with money was lame to me.
Well, it is lame, but the problem is this. The guys that typically have an abundance of money to spend are usually famous singers,
Right.
athletes, rappers, etc. Or they're guys that make money illegally, right? So they live a, high excitement, high volatile type of lifestyle. And though that's part of the motivation, they know that they're going to be able to get women by having the illegal money.
Yep.
So they take the risk to do it. The problem is when these women try to actually date in the real world, because the real world doesn't align with that. Guys that have careers or real jobs and are thinking long term and preparing to raise families, yeah, they may have money to be able to spend, buy bottles and do these type of things, but he's not going to see a whole lot of value in that. If he's not single trying to attract those type of women, that does not align with the man that is trying to put you in a position to be his wife and to provide for a family. And so those type of women are always going to conflict with men that have that as their end goal.
Right. No, in my view, the athletes, actors, rappers, that is the majority. That's the top 1%, right? Even the lowest, let's just say the lowest paid NBA player, they're still making about $1 million. So that's the top 1%. And how many of those are out there? They're few far in between if you really think about it.
That's true from a
Yeah.
logical, reasonable standpoint, but it's not 1% of their timeline.
Yeah.
Seeing guys that are crypto investors and have money to, every month is something where some woman's getting some type of lavish gift, a Rolls Royce delivered, a Lambo truck, all these type of things that women get just because they see these things frequently. So in their brains, it's not 1%.
Yeah.
You have to put context around it to be like, look, the information's online. You can Google what the average salaries are and what percentage of men make $100,000, etc. It's a small amount. It may not seem like it, you know what I mean? Like, because there are so many people that are on social media flossing, a lot of times this is scam money. This is money from, they're taking risks to be able to present this luxurious, baller lifestyle. Even if it's only for a couple of years, there are guys that see value in that. And when you in the streets, I've never been in the streets, but the people that I know, they don't have long-term vision. They thinking about
right now.
If I get arrested, I can hire a lawyer. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
they thinking about let's make it right now and a week ahead, a week or two. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of how they plan it. So that does not align with what it takes to actually be a husband and try to raise kids and prepare for college and prepare for retirement and all these type of things. Man, you can't afford to just live the type of lifestyle where women want to expect a $500 first date.
Yeah.
And if you're not just rich and Floyd Mayweather or somebody going on a $500 date, that's nothing to them. But you cannot use celebrities and wealthy people to make your judgments on how what dating is supposed to look like. It's never going to align with the average person's day-to-day lifestyle.
Right.
And a lot of women will curve a guy that will be able to provide a middle class, upper middle class lifestyle because he's not driving a Lamborghini or something crazy that she can't even afford. So it's an unfortunate world that we live in, but it is.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
you got to have the discernment to tell who you dealing
right.
with.
I mean, I guess I get it from they put all their timelines flooded with this on social media, and like I said, if they're a good-looking woman here, one of those guys might shoot their shot in their DM. They might be one click away from an NBA star or NFL star actually seeing their parents saying, "Hell, okay, let me shoot my shot. Let me shoot her DM." Yeah, that can happen. No doubt about it. But
yeah,
you said
that their entry to a luxury lifestyle is very easy if they're attractive women, especially with all the beauty enhancements and stuff that they get to assist them. Let's keep things rolling, man. This next video is kind of tied into what we're just talking about. It's the women that go through extremes to post the thirst traps and to get the attention of the athletes and etc. Let's take a look.
Every woman that's on social media that's showing her titties and her pussy from just always remember your son looking at it too.
That's right.
So I want y'all to know. And get what? Your son partner's looking at your pussy on Instagram. So when he come over there, he not coming over there like we come over there and say, hey, mama. Now, he come over there to love her. You know why? Because he saw your mama on Instagram, she was showing that camera toe. And now them niggas making fun of you, boy, your mama got a camera toe. Now he done start creating resentment for his mama because of how she carrying and stuff.
And now he acting out.
Now he guess what? He gotta act out because he don't want to feel less than you. Say, my name, this real.
Now, this is definitely a new phenomenon. We didn't have this issue, back in the day. Now, boys have always been attracted to, the friend with the attractive mom or whatnot. So mom jokes and comments about having an attractive mom. That's one thing. But in the era where I can't even imagine having to deal with that, but where your mama is in her panties and on her stories and online and just randomly putting herself out there, man, like the amount of fights that you're gonna get in and the way that that's gonna shape your perspective of women, I can't imagine the trauma that will lead to as a young guy. And even for girls, I know that having very popular moms and moms that are, might have a BBL or a big booty or whatnot, a lot of kids are embarrassed by that, where your mom's the center of attention when she comes to the school and all that type of stuff. Like, yeah, you get a lot of attention and the boys flirt, but your kids probably take issue with that.
Yeah, so, and you know what? It's more common than you think, and this is a conversation nobody's having. Like you said, in today's day and age, where not only women post thirst traps, they have a kid. I mean, like I said, back in the day, we probably had a friend that had a quote unquote hot mom, or good looking, an attractive mom. Like, damn, you seen such mom? Damn, damn, she's thick. You know what I'm saying? We've all had that friend, right? But now it's to a whole nother extreme. Back then we only saw them in clothes and in jeans or some leggings or something, right? Now you're seeing them in posting online in thong and G-string bikinis here. Yeah,
and swimsuits, and just dancing like.
And some of them,
we didn't see people's parents in a lot of context. You didn't see them turning up. You didn't see what they were doing at the club. You didn't see them dancing and getting drunk and having all these type of things. So how you portray yourself matters. You know what I mean? Especially when your kids start getting on social media. Like I remember my daughter, I pop up on her timeline and on her, Explorer page and all this type of stuff. So I'm very cognizant of the stuff that I put out online. I used to put a whole bunch of sexual content out and this and that. So I've toned all that down now that I realize she follows. I don't know if she follows me, but my content reaches her. You know what I mean? Like, and so if you're not thinking about that as a parent, you doing something wrong. And for the women, sometimes I'll be feeling like a hypocrite because I have my male perspective on sex and all that stuff. So I always have if I was a woman, I would probably do it too. But that's me wanting sex from a male perspective. Right. You know what I mean? The women that do it, they have to realize that there are consequences that come from it. How men view you, whether or not they would consider you someone that they would take serious or be willing to marry one day. All of that comes down to how you present yourself. And if you are willing to go that shortcut route to show your panties, show you this and do all that, you could not show your face, you can be anonymous, but when the knowledge comes out that is you, it's not going to just only impact you, it's going to impact your family and your children as well. and that seems like the part that they overlook.
Yeah, and to another point, even some even have OnlyFans, and I think that's probably, and some of the, friends or kids, they like, they find out, getting clowned, and that happened, you hear these stories too.
Well, yeah, OnlyFans, because it's porn, essentially / prostitution, whatever, however you want to categorize it. Now, you have to understand that I'd say 90 something percent of women have some type of pornography on somebody's phone, right? They giving head, receiving head, having sex with, but that is viewed drastically different than someone doing it in a professional setting, right? And so even though OnlyFans can be from your house or from your phone, it's still a professional,
right. Because you gotta pay
content,
you gotta pay a subscription fee to see that person on OnlyFans, whatever their fees are.
Right. So, and if you're going to take the route that you're going to make that your profession, then you're going to be judged accordingly. You can't live like that and move like that and then act like you're just going to be treated like the normal average woman. Men are never going to view you that way. And I've seen all the conversations. I make more money than a doctor. Like they brag about how much money they make and what they can buy as if that's what men are attracted to. So that it's like they just completely disregard everything that they're taught about or told about how men that actually want to get married view things, because it doesn't align with their lifestyles. All right, man. We about to take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna be getting into today's topic, "Mommy's in Charge," where we're just giving our thoughts about some of the ways that women can improve their parenting and the outcomes that we see from kids these days. You're tuned into the Ho to Husband podcast. We'll be back in a moment. Hi, I'm relationship coach and author Terry Duran, and I am pleased to announce that my book, "It's Not That Complicated," is finally available as an audiobook. So if you don't like to read or you just don't have time to read a paperback book, this audiobook is perfect for you. You can listen to it while you're in your car, while you're at work, etc. In the book, I break down how husband material men think and operate in regards to sex, love, and relationships, and I provide real quality insight on how husband material men approach dating. The audiobook is available on audible.com and on iTunes. All you have to do is go to one of the websites and search for my name, Terry Duran. Go download your copy today. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Ho to Husband podcast. Today's episode is titled "Mommy's in Charge." And in light of Mother's Day, first of all, shout out to all the mothers out there. But we're just going to be giving our thoughts on ways that women can improve parenting or things that can have a positive impact on the upbringing we see. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is right now we live in a society where the numbers or the percentage of children are increasingly growing up without a father in the household. So it seems like there's been this major shift from having a family to most people are born into a co-parenting situation at best. And a lot of times it's just the mom by herself. The dad, in a lot of cases, isn't involved or maybe unaware of the pregnancy altogether. And so we're starting to see decades and decades of how that impacts the overall population. And it's not good. We see the statistics on, prison pipeline, the education, the lack of high school dropouts, a lot of the negative statistics that we see in today's society are directly or reflect a situation where their father wasn't involved in their life, at least not to a major degree during those early adolescent years.
Yeah. No, and I think it's unfortunate, not having a father in the house. You would hope for at least a good co-parenting situation because it affects the child whether you have a son or a daughter. It definitely affects the child, and a lot of times in a negative way. Because now you have mom forced to do, I guess, for lack of a better description, she's forced to do both roles. And I know we've had conversations like, okay, can a woman raise a boy to be a man? we know she can raise him to be a responsible adult, but not actually be a man.
Dope. Yeah, because a lot of times the co-parenting is offset by revenge, weaponizing the child support system, etc. And some parents grow out of it. Sometimes they mature and they come to the realization that, you know what, I'm tripping. What I'm doing is hurting my child or whatnot. But a lot of times it's too late. From the male perspective, we see the negative
Yeah.
a lot. All right, I get it. There are a lot of dudes that shouldn't be dads and are irresponsible, but I also see what happens to a lot of responsible fathers when they break up with the mom or try to move on to another relationship. Being a good dad gets weaponized against them because they know that they care. Threats about child support, calling the police. They make it more as difficult as possible to exchange the kid and pick up the kid and all this type of stuff. And with the amount of money that men have to spend dealing with custody battles, man, it can get to six figures very quickly. Because the lawyers, every time they got to go to court, they charge you for it. You know what I mean? It ain't like it's a set fee. It's a hourly thing. And all it takes is to have a disagreeable baby mama. No, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do that. Every time the court date gets reset, every time it gets pushed back, those are thousands and thousands of dollars and in a lot of cases, the dad ends up having to pay her fees too. Yeah. So it could be a very bad situation for a man and the kid long term.
Yeah, absolutely. Those things do get messy. I've had friends go through that. Having to pay a lawyer, and you ain't lying. It can cost. It's very costly because, like you said, you get on a phone call, you meet with them, you got to pay for that. You go to every court appearance they're charging you for. And mind you, you got to pay a retainer fee just to have them in the first place. So you don't even include that. So it can get costly real quick, like you said. And if let's just say it runs for a couple of 2-3 years, yeah, it can run you into the six figures by then.
Yeah, I've had friends have to liquidate homes, have to sell businesses, sell stock. Assets that were meant for their retirement, they've had to liquidate to be able to just fight for their kids, fight to get custody, etc. And then on top of, kids are expensive on their own. Right. So if you were having to raise your kid and pay just to be able to have visitation or have rights, it could be very toxic. And I think that the one of the most vital parts of that is the mother's perspective on men in relationships. Obviously, she has to be healed and get past the breakup, right? It might have been the dad's fault. He might have cheated. Whatever the reason for the breakup was, at some point you have to get over that and mature and move past that. Yeah. Because the perspective that a woman has on men, relationships, dating, etc., all of that is going to be filtered down and impact her child. And if she views men from, a lot of women just hate men in general. Yeah. Like the misandries. Some of the stuff that they post online, men should have to start off in jail and earn their way out. And like they really have this perspective of the world where men are the problem for everything and everything would be great if women ran everything. When we have multiple examples that show that's definitely not the route to go. But that perspective, she's the only person that can change it. And if she has one of those kind of toxic, negative perspectives of men, that's going to get pushed down onto her child, whether it's directly or indirectly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always say this when it comes to parenting or even co-parenting for that matter. I say the best thing you can do is y'all both being on the same page. Y'all, does that always happen? No, but if you're both on the same page when it comes to raising that child, I think things could go a lot smooth. And honestly, the child is better served that way.
Yeah, I agree. But there's very few people that I know in real life that have culture. I would say SD is the gold standard. His
Yeah.
his baby mama and co-parent
But
situation seems stress free.
yeah, but one thing he
But
does say
that's very
is
rare.
one thing he does say, and he does put a whole emphasis on is he's not trying to sleep with neither one of them. Because let's be honest here, right? How many baby mom's trying to sleep with baby daddy? Hey, what you doing tonight? Or vice versa, right? How many are still texting each other? And I think that's where I think things get confused. That's where you blur the lines when, okay, after the fact you two are no longer together, you're living in separate households, and you're still, getting together every here and there, or you gotta once a month, twice a month, whatever it is, right? I think that's where the confusion comes in. That's where you're blurring the lines at. Where SD's like he made a point of emphasis not to do it. And I think one of them has either moved on. It has a whole other relationship here, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's smart. That I agree. That is one of the things that he pointed out. But I know for a lot of guys, they have in their brains that if we have a kid together, I'm always gonna be able to get
Right.
it. And so they don't have the discipline or the maturity to realize that that's the way that they go, because those emotions and stirring up those jealousies, those the conflicts with other women, what you're doing for another woman's child, all those type of things come up when you stay involved with the woman. And so I have no experience co-parenting personally, so I can't give no
Me neither.
how I would handle it, etc. But that would be difficult, you know what I'm saying? Like the thinking about who's gonna be around your kids and all those type of things. Like there's so many dynamics that come into play that could create conflict. But if you can get the all right, we're platonic and we're focused on doing what's in the best interest of the child, and get both people to really buy into that, then I think you can have the money can be worked out. You can come, hey, this is what my salary is, this is what I can afford. But the problem that we see now is women are since they're the custodial parent, they get to make majority of the decisions regarding the child. And that can be problematic, you know what I mean? Because we see it as prom season. You got a baby mama that feels like her son needs to have a wedding for a prom, and she wants to spend $3,000. Now she's coming to you like, I need you to pay for prom. Like, what the difference between what a need and a want is can be very difficult to establish in a co-parenting situation. And unfortunately, in that type of situation, the dad is going to be painted as the bad guy. Your dad don't care. He don't want you to have a prom. He don't want, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be painted in this negative light where it's like, hold on.
Yeah.
Your rent's $1,200. Why would you spend $3,000 on a prom or on a one night type
Makes no
vibe?
sense.
Yeah, and if you co-parenting, you're at the mercy of that other parent, because the child is going to pick up the characteristics of the parent that they're around the most. And so we see these adult boys, I mean, they're men technically, but they think, they view things from a female perspective. They think and make their decisions and handle their emotions like women do. They really get sassy. They gotta escalate every situation instead of, you know what I'm saying, calming it down. They gotta show you how mad they are. They gotta show you how petty they can be. Like all those type of things, those are female traits. That's why guys, you're like, you bitch ass, you know what I'm saying? Like you're viewed as a woman because those are traits that are typically aligned with women.
And another thing that I guess it can hurt it too, somebody else, let's just say the mother goes, dates, gets a new boyfriend, or father dates, gets a new girlfriend. One gets jealous of the other, they don't prove. That gets, that makes things messy as well. Like I said, especially if you two still are having, I guess, sexual relationship there, right? Because I think the best case scenario in this is having, I would say, a cordial, amicable relationship. And you don't have to be, quote unquote, best friends, I guess. But if you have a cordial, amicable relationship, it would be a lot to, not interfere in the other's dating life. Hey, just accept that, hey, we're not together. One is moved on here. But in most cases, it doesn't. Like you said, SD's gold standard here. Yeah, I wish he was here to talk about it because this is really more of his lane here.
Yeah, in the timing of it, there are so many factors that go into how the co-parenting situation is going to play out. The cause of the breakup, the age of the kids, the distance. Do y'all live in the same city, same state, etc. All these things come into play because as the child gets older and starts to have conversations with each parent, they can talk about what daddy's new girlfriend is, and I got in trouble. She took my phone, or this, it could be anything that could set off, a confrontation or a volatile situation. And I've seen that too, tell her don't touch my daughter's hair and don't do this. And she better not comb my daughter's hair. Like, how you mad somebody combed your daughter's hair so she can look nice with her out? You know what I'm saying? But petty stuff like that comes up. I've seen where it gets so bad with some parents where they don't send clothes and shoes with the other parent no more. And it just be all kind of stuff where you be like, damn, it really boils down to this. But then when I think about it, man, we're a couple generations removed of the evolution of teenage parents, where the folk you really ain't in a position to provide for no kids, so your parents was really taking care of the kid financially, and in a lot of ways they're more siblings than a parent-child relationship. So you see that, the mom's 31 and the daughter's 13 or 14, and they got matching outfits and they go to concerts together. They do this together. Like that's your child, not your homegirl. You know what I mean? Like
I mean,
so
MTV made a whole the Teen Mom Show the Teen Mom Show. I mean, that was over 20 years ago.
16 and pregnant. Ain't that what it was called or something like that?
Yeah. Yep. And man, that was 20 something years ago. I mean, that came out after.
Yeah, I saw something recently where it was kind of a viral post where a mom was saying that her friendship with another woman kind of got ruined because the daughter's 12-year-old daughter got pregnant and she wouldn't allow her daughter to go to the baby shower to celebrate.
Oh wow.
And so, I can see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't wrap my brain around having my 12-year-old daughter be pregnant. But
couldn't either.
From my teaching days, I saw it. I remember I had 7th and 8th graders that had multiple kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were dating men in their 20s and stuff like this. So I saw it and I was in disbelief and shook. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, but it's real. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
it's a real thing.
Hold on, like, and these the kids that you had for junior high, the parents was okay with their daughter sleeping with a 20-something-year-old.
I can't say what their parents' perspective was on it. But when you in the hood like that and the parents is working 2 jobs and the daughter, you can't control who your friends hang out with. I mean, kids hang out or what they do for the most part. So I don't know what the scenario is, but teenage girls have been messing with older men for forever. Like, that's not a new thing. And so, from a male perspective, you have to have the discipline to be like, man, she's too young for me, and you cut it off. Because I remember when I was a teacher, they used to always talk about it, like, don't have the girls a room, don't let them be close to you, don't let them. And I used to always be thinking, like, why are y'all so scary about it? Like, man, these is little girls. But there are men that don't view them that way and don't have the self-control to be able to keep it at that type of level. You know what I mean? Like, so I have a daughter, so I can't even imagine. Like, bro, when you see how immature girls are and the stuff that they care about, it's like, how could that be the person you dating and you Like, you know what I'm saying? Because if you're a grown man and you having sex with a woman, don't you have real adult conversations with them?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't imagine being involved with somebody that I don't know about TikTok. I don't care about, you know what I'm saying? Like certain stuff like that. Um, so to me, my brain, it's hard for me to wrap my mind around how men even view them. I get it physically, they can be shape, you know, have a nice shape or whatnot. But if you interact with them and you see their maturity level, that would be more frustrating than I think with anything else.
Right. You have nothing that's relatable, especially somebody in your age. Like, what can you do that? What can you talk about? What is it you do that's relatable? You know what I'm saying? The only thing really is just sexual and who knows? Like I said, let's just say 15. She probably has a limited number of sexual experience. It's very limited here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way, you know, when it's the opposite. I remember when I was 17, I was working at a grocery store, and one of my coworkers, he was 17 too.
Okay.
And he kept talking, he had a child, though, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So he said something like, my baby mama was coming up to do something. Man, a woman came up, she was like 35 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he lived with her and everything. So I'm like, I was like, I thought it was his mom at first, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Until he kissed her, you know what I'm saying? Like, and so what would a 35-year-old woman want with a 17-year-old? Like, you got a baby by a 17-year-old. So you've been smashing him for years.
Right.
Like, so to me, but you know, that's not as frowned upon, you know, as men dating very young girls. But to me, it's the same thing. Like, man, you gotta, your success level with the people in your age group has to be very, very poor in order for that to be your, you know what I'm saying, your go-to route. But there was one thing that I did want to talk about in regards to the parenting. You know, with mothers having domicile and control in a lot of the situations, the type of parenting that fathers usually bring, the discipline, the regimen, the structure, that's really frowned upon in a lot of ways in society now. You know, you being too hard on her. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have anytime a man enforces a boundary or some type of discipline, it's always painted in a negative light, you know, as if you're doing too much, you're being too strict. And I strongly disagree with that. Like, part of being able to navigate life successfully, you're gonna have to deal with some major obstacles. You're gonna have to deal with some unexpected situations. Life is not about what you want or what your preference is. You know what I mean? Like, you got to deal with what you can afford or what you can, you know what I'm saying? Like, what you can manage to get. And so I think in a lot of ways, if there isn't a man that's able to instill those type of lessons for a boy or a girl, I think that they're going to struggle with adulthood once they get out in the real world and they see that they bossed and everybody else don't handle them the way that their mom did.
No, yeah, absolutely right. As far as the father being there to instill discipline, structure, and everything, and just I don't understand why that's frowned upon. But I guess it's a solid issue there. But and most fathers, they're trying to get their kids ready for real world because they know life is gonna be made easy for them. Like you said, you go work a 9-to-5 job. It's not gonna be easy. Even just college in general, right? You go to college for 4 to 5 years, whichever it is, right? It's some classes are gonna be harder than others. So you're trying to help your kid navigate through, be able to navigate through life on their own. Like, I can even tell you how it was for me growing up. I was always told, Barb, hey, you should learn this now because, hey, I'm not going to live forever. One day I'm not going to be here, and you have to know.
Yeah, it's sometimes those are kind of the tough conversations about the realities, though. And so, a lot of times when I'm talking to my daughter, I try to explain to her, you're lucky, man. A lot of people don't have a dad that actually talks to them and give them game and, make sure they straight. And I try to get her to understand that you're dealing with jealousy and stuff at school because other people see what the support system you have. You know what I mean? Um, you know, growing up poor, you kind of resent the kids that have two parents and stuff like that. So I get it. I understand why they hate on her and talk about her behind her back and all that. But I'm like, man, I was one of them kids. Like, you spoiled brat, you cheerleader, you got
You got
like
you
you got a
got a
car, you a
name.
sophomore, like yeah. So even though she put in work, they don't see the stuff she does to maintain her grades and all these clubs and stuff that she does. But from the outside looking in, like you got everything that I'm pretty sure a kid that's with a in a struggling household or parents not making as much income, you are the epitome of what they don't have. So I try to get her to understand that and to understand that, man, what you want and what your preferences are don't really matter. Like, yeah, if we can do what you want or what you prefer, that's cool. But we got to make sure the necessities are taken care of. And I think that men, I think in general, do a better job of instilling that in kids as they're growing up.
Yep. Yeah.
Looks like we up against the clock, man. We about to get up out of here. Before we go, man, I want to give another shout out to my brother Soul Productions for keeping us late with our background music. I want to remind y'all to continue supporting the podcast through our Cash App and our PayPal. Jay, man, I appreciate you linking up so we can get this episode knocked out throughout all the struggles and the technical difficulties. I'm glad to see that we back on track, and hopefully we'll be able to get SD back in the fold pretty soon. This has been another episode of the Ho to Husband Podcast. Y'all, thanks for tuning in. Peace.